So today I wanted to go over with you the parts of the cell again. And so for most of you, the 10 organelles that I will be going over today will be all review. So I've numbered them 1 through 10, knowing that the endoplasmic reticulum actually has the smooth and the rough component to that. And so both of those would be considered to be different parts of for your test. So starting with, let's outline, this is an animal cell, and today we're only going to be doing the animal cells. And the outside of the animal cell, remember there is no cell wall. So the cell membrane is what protects everything for the cell. It allows things in and out. And remember that there are quite a few components to the plasma membrane. But for today, let's just do these 10 organelles. We are also going to have the nucleus that is surrounded by its own membrane. Remember that eukaryotic cells, your animals and plants, all of their organelles are surrounded by a membrane. Interior of that, we're going to have a nucleolus. Endoplasmic reticulum will come off of that. And on the endoplasmic reticulum, we'll have a section where we're going to have ribosomes. Remembering that ribosomes also are free-floating within the cell. We have lysosomes, and although I draw them as Pac-Man, remember that they do not look like that. And then vacuoles. And the animal cell has quite a few vacuoles. So let's go over the functions. Number 1, the nucleus. That is what is routinely called in most books the brain center of the cell. But remember that that is where our DNA is located. So if I was to put something down for our nucleus, I would put down that it has DNA, that it is the brain center. Number 2 is our nuclear membrane, and it allows things in and out of the cell. Let me make that number 2 a little bit better for you. And that nuclear membrane controls, just like the cell membrane does, so lets things in and out. The nucleolus, number 3, is most famous because that is where our RNA is. And again now, number 4, I'll put the number 4 over here, our cell membrane, again does the exact same thing as number 2, allows things in and out. Number 5, the endoplasmic reticulum, is a pathway. And it ends up being very critical because that is where the manufacture of lipids occurs. It is where proteins are manufactured. So I would probably not only put down that it's a pathway, but I would also put down that it is where lipids are manufactured and where proteins are manufactured as well. The mitochondria, number 6, which I did not draw, let me put that in now. And generally the textbooks are going to show the zigzag line in there because that ends up being very critical. If you remember about cellular respiration, the glycolysis or breaking down of the sugar happens outside of the mitochondria, but the cellular respiration or the Krebs cycle itself occurs inside the matrix of that mitochondria. So the mitochondria is known for making ATP. Your lysosomes, number 7, are critical in that they contain digestive enzymes, over 50 of them. It is believed probably around 52, 55 digestive enzymes. And as far as anatomy is concerned, the digestive enzymes, if you're missing one of those, that will cause a disorder. For example, Tay-Sachs is one of those disorders. So typically it is known to be of people of Hebrew descent. It is believed because of isolation of areas where in Russia and in Poland, people of Jewish descent were confined to certain areas. It's just like my relatives in the outside of Chicago developed sickle cell anemia because they, again, were quite isolated. So with this digestive disorder, Tay-Sachs, the baby is born, they are missing the digestive enzyme that will remove the lipids in the brain. And what happens is The infant, up until about 6 months of age, seems to be developing perfectly normal. They can sit up, they start to roll over, and then within a very short period of time, days to a week, things start to digress where they no longer are playing and rolling over. They're no longer able to sit up on their own, and that's because of the buildup of lipids, and the life expectancy is usually 3 to 4 years. And again, we'll talk many times about the different digestive enzyme disorders. The other big thing that lysosomes are well known for is they break up debris. So enzymes are pretty critical as far as what their function is. I would probably put down digestive enzyme as being the biggest function. So I put down digests. Now we come to the difference between the rough and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So the smooth is in section number 8, and the rough is section number 9. So the smooth endoplasmic reticulum is the one that does not have any ribosomes on it. And that's important because remember the ribosomes, which we'll get to in just a second, is the site of, just put that, because that's actually where I want to put my ribosomes. I did write that down. It's number 9. So number 8 is where our smooth, and our rough is where the ribosomes are. So let me put down 8 is smooth ER. And I've tried to put as much onto the side as possible, knowing that once I start writing inside the cell itself, it starts to get confusing as to all the different names. And this is the rough ER. And on your test, you would be given a blank sheet of paper and asked to write out and label these parts and give a short discussion on them. And it is okay to put ER after you've already written out endoplasmic reticulum at least once. Our ribosomes, again, number 9, are the site of protein production. And the vacuoles, number 10, are for storage, both of waste and products. I'll say other products, because there'll be storage for water. They could be storage short-term of a variety of different things. Whereas if you remember back from even middle school where you talked about chloroplasts in plants have one single large central vacuole, animal cells will have many vacuoles. They will also vary in the number of mitochondria depending on the location of where the cell is. If it's in heart tissue, you're going to have more mitochondria. If it's in muscle, the leg example would also have more muscle tissue. Remember, cardiac is muscle tissue. So this is a short overview of the 10 most common organelles of the cell, and there are a lot more, but this is what we will start with. So please be prepared with a blank sheet of paper to be able to draw a cell, an animal cell, a eukaryotic animal cell, to place in the organelles, label them, and give brief descriptions of those. And again, if I have missed, I did not put in here, cell membrane lets things in and out. But again, you can go back to the Screencastify as many times as you need to practice. How I would practice this for a review is I would take a piece of paper and I would just draw the cell and see how many organelles I can correctly put on there, label, and give a brief description. And when I say brief description, I'm expecting probably a few words to a short sentence. Just putting down ATP or digest would not be enough. So again, go back to the Screencastify, watch as many times as you need to get that full sentence. And again, remember that I'm available, just email if you need some assistance, and we can set up a Google Meet. Thank you.